Hey everyone, welcome back, and today we will be making a classic hot drink. Probably the most delicious hot drink ever created.
This is coming from the guy who hates hot drinks.
I hate hot drinks.
It's true.
But today we're going to be making hot chocolate and schnapps.
It's going to be good. Stick around.
So once again, I did a little bit of research on the history of this, and there was literally nothing. So there's not really much to talk about, I guess.
We can talk a little bit about the history of hot chocolate.
Well, okay. So hot chocolate, thank you for that. Hot chocolate goes all the way back to 500 BC with the Mayans. They had a kind of a early ancestral version of the hot chocolate, which had cornmeal, it had fresh ground cacao beans, and I think chili peppers in there as well. So it's kind of spicy, had a lot of weight to it, but that was, you know.
That was the original chocolate. Even before there was bar chocolate, there was this sort of hot chocolate drink, which was brought back to to Europe via conquistadors.
Right, around 1500s from my understanding.
Exactly, and then it sort of over time, it went from being a really like super fancy drink of rich people to becoming something that average people could enjoy.
Right, so around the 1700s, they actually started having chocolate houses, very similar to what we would consider like a coffee house, where you'd go, have a hot cup of hot chocolate, and go about your day.
Sounds delicious.
Sounds pretty awesome.
So what do you say we give it a try?
Let's do it.
Hot chocolate is pretty simple. We've all made it before. The first thing I would say is to just follow the recipe on your hot chocolate. Now, I know this is an ungodly large container of hot chocolate, but don't worry, we have 2 of these. We were given them as a gift, and so partially we're doing today's recipe because we want to drink this drink, but partially we need to get rid of this stuff. So
yeah, I think that's what, 3 pounds or 5 pounds?
Yeah,
or
so
like that?
We've got a long way to go. But
6 pounds.
meanwhile, let's go ahead and make 2 gigantic cups of hot chocolate. Can you see this? This is like bigger than my face.
Right.
This is gonna be awesome. But again, follow the recipe on your container of hot chocolate mix. That's probably the best way to go. I will say a lot of people make hot chocolate with water. I personally make it with milk. I also know people who do half and half. That's kind of a personal choice thing. I don't think you need to worry about curdling in this cocktail. Would you agree?
We'll find out.
Before we started the camera, Chris assured me that we would not need to worry about curdling in this cocktail. So we're just gonna have to see if he's a big fat liar.
It'll be fine.
Do you trust this face? I don't
Peppermint
trust this
ricotta.
Oh no, this is all bad. All right.
Chocolate ricotta.
So, we're guessing that this guy is probably around what, 12 ounces?
12 to 16 ounces. It's a pretty big cup.
So we're gonna do about 5 tablespoons of this guy. And we've come prepared with tablespoons. So I'm gonna do 5 tablespoons of this in each mug.
We'll be here a while, but if you're using those little Swiss Miss packages with the little marshmallows, just follow the directions on there. And Julie said water, milk, whatever your preferences are.
3.
3.
4.
And now, Julia has a secret step in the hot chocolate making step.
It's not much of a secret anymore.
I know, we're building it up.
So the trouble with hot chocolate, as we all know, especially with cold chocolate, is it gets super clumpy and really hard to mix up. You get all those little clumps and like chocolate bubbles. So what I like to do is actually just kind of make a chocolate paste with just a little tiny bit of your liquid, whether it's water or milk.
All right, well let me, tell me when to stop here.
Thank you. Let's start with that. That's probably
about an ounce or 2.
Yeah, not very much at all. And then do we have an extra spoon? Well, actually, I'm gonna use my whisk.
Prepared.
This is my favorite whisk. Now, because there's not very much liquid in there, it makes it really easy to knock out those clumps of chocolate. Don't be tempted to drink this. Well, you probably will be. It's gonna be real chocolatey. But the nice thing is that you get all those clumps out of the drink before you add the rest of your liquid. And then when you add the rest of the liquid, it's really no big deal.
There you go. You want to take this one? Actually, it could use a good whisking. And it looks like brownie batter right now. Like the ones right out of a box.
It's really thick.
Yeah.
But don't you worry, we're not gonna drink this as is. Let me try to avoid the mess here. And now I'll set this aside. And now we can add the rest of the milk, and it should not have very many clumps to it at all.
All right, just let me know when.
We want to come to maybe about here. We want to leave room for How much schnapps do you put in this guy?
Usually about 1.5 ounces, since this is essentially a double. We're gonna go ahead and put about 2 ounces in this guy. So I'm just gonna top it off a little bit.
We just want to make sure we've got enough room for the schnapps.
That should be about right.
Now what I'm trying to do is stir it enough that those chocolate clumps come off the sides. That might take a little while. But meanwhile, let's go ahead and go with number 2. And as you can see, no clumps.
There it is, see? The master's touch. The hot chocolate connoisseur.
I may or may not have had a lot of hot chocolate in my life. This obviously doesn't work as well with a cold drink, but it works pretty well. It's better than just sort of throwing them together and seeing what happens.
Perfect, so I'll go ahead and get this started. So once again, we're gonna do about 2 ounces of schnapps. Now, in my research, I did find out there's a significant difference between traditional schnapps and American schnapps.
Really?
So traditional European schnapps are actually dry. They don't have as much sugar in them as the American versions do. So it's more like a brandy or an eau de vie than a sugar bomb like our schnapps. From my understanding anyways, I could be completely off basis on this.
So if you're one of those people that doesn't like sweets, maybe go with that one.
Right, or if you're making this from scratch, the hot chocolate from scratch, it might be something you kind of back out some of the sugar because you know there's going to be a ton of sugar in these schnapps.
Plus, of course, there's a ton of sugar in this guy too.
Right.
By the way, don't be confused between hot chocolate mix, or I should say dark chocolate and cocoa. This guy has sugar added to it.
Right.
It's not clear on the front, but first ingredient, sugar, and pure chocolate cacao. That stuff has no sugar in it, and this will be
a surprise.
Very spicy. It's not gonna be what you're looking for. Now you can use normal cacao, but just go ahead and Google a hot chocolate, like a powdered hot chocolate mix recipe, and it'll tell you how much sugar, granulated sugar, you're gonna wanna add to that to come to your sort of standard hot chocolate mix. But yeah, don't just use it alone because it's not sweetened and it is intense.
Bitter. Mm.
Yes.
So do you want to go next up maybe?
So next up is what we're going to put on top of this guy, and that is a delicious whipped cream, but not just any whipped cream, because that would be a missed opportunity.
Of course. So we're going to spike the whipped cream with more peppermint schnapps, because why not?
Why not? So no, you can make whipped cream, you can buy whipped cream, but if you buy whipped cream, obviously it's hard to add the schnapps. So we're gonna make whipped cream from scratch. Now typically we would use a mixer, but another really easy way to make small quantities of whipped cream is to use one of these protein shakers. Believe it or not, it's got one of these blender balls in it, and this thing makes really quick work of a very small batch of whipped cream.
Yeah, and if you don't have one of these at home, you can also make it in a cocktail shaker. And if you have your Hawthorne strainer, you just take the spring off your Hawthorne strainer, kind of turn it into a ball, and it's essentially the same thing. So if you have the cocktail shaker, you are in business.
This one I would say is probably a little bit faster. So
absolutely.
I'm doing a small batch here again. That's 4 ounces of whipping cream.
And then how much sugar?
All right, we're gonna add 1 teaspoon of white sugar. And actually, we could probably...
You want to just freeform this one?
Yeah, freeform it. We don't want to add too much because again, the schnapps has sugar of its own.
Right.
And then you're going to want to add a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla.
Ooh, vanilla.
So just a tiny.
Just a splash.
Yeah,
and this is our homemade vanilla.
Which is basically vanilla beans and vodka and thyme.
So I'm just going to add a little bit.
Just the tiniest bit, yeah.
There we go. And how much schnapps do you think?
All right, so I did Google this one. I cheated a little bit, and I think I'm estimating we're going to want about 1/2 ounce.
All right, let's try that.
Batch.
Boom,
The best part about this whipped cream recipe is that Chris is going to make it for
and with this, it just takes time. Just give it a good shake and just keep shaking for a while. We would do this in a bar, but like I said, we would use cocktail shakers and a Hawthorne strainer. We're going to be here a while. Make yourself comfy. Is that good? All right, let's see how we did. Hey, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Done.
How quick was that?
Very cool. All right, so next, let me just grab...
Yeah, let's get a clean bar spoon for that guy.
Actually, I think in the drawer over there, we have one.
All right. Ta-da.
Perfect. Let me grab the blender ball out of there.
That is the downside of the blender ball, is that it kind of gets in the way when you try to scoop it out. But it's worth it.
This is whipped cream. No doubt about it. All right.
You want to taste it? Let's see if there's no schnapps in there.
You go for it. Pinky. There you go.
Oh, that's good. It doesn't taste strongly of schnapps.
You want to go for more?
I don't know. What do you think? Obviously, don't do this if you're serving in a restaurant.
Yeah, probably a little more, actually.
I think we can go with a little tiny bit more.
So that was half an ounce. Let's do another half ounce.
And if we totally kill it, then you're going to witness it here.
Right. So we'll just add it in there again.
Here, I can hold that guy.
Perfect.
We make a lot of dishes when we film. You may have noticed.
There we go.
Great job.
Thanks. It's like I've done this like a handful of times.
A couple times.
All right.
Did it still whip up?
Did, yeah.
Oh, that looks super good. You will see shortly. All right.
It's like legit whipped cream. Look at that.
The other pinky. Oh, yeah.
That's it? All right. Great.
There's
so let's just go ahead and add some cream to this guy.
Now, if you wanted to make this super fancy, what you would do is throw this in a piping bag, and then you can actually pipe it onto the top of the cocktail. But we're not fancy, so we're gonna go old school here. And
yeah, that's pretty much it. Try to get every bit of it.
Absolutely.
But it does give it a nice little background hint of the mint.
You can definitely taste the peppermint in that whipped cream, and you can definitely taste it in the chocolate.
Great.
Not that I tasted it.
Perfect.
So how would you garnish this guy?
So many different options. For example, we could do the crushed up candy canes, which is always a good idea.
Look what I have.
We could do that.
Do you want me to put this on top?
Yeah, let's do it. Make it nice and colorful.
Pardon fingers.
The one problem with crushed candy canes, and I've ran into this problem during service when I've had this as a garnish before, is it clumps together almost instantly.
Which is what you're seeing me dealing with right now.
So if there's any humidity in the air, that thing's just going to turn into a ball. So I'm
going to try to
plan accordingly.
Yeah, obviously I'm putting my fingers all over this.
Ah, it's so pretty.
I have cooties, so.
Pretty
gorgeous.
There we go.
And
a couple colorful straws. Boom.
I think these are perfect. They go with the peppermint.
There we go. You could put a candy cane in there if you wanted to.
You could.
I mean, it's limitless, the possibilities for garnishing.
No, there's a lot that you could do with this one. I mean, basically just start with any sort of chocolate, hot chocolate recipe and go from there. You could do like a spicy hot chocolate recipe.
Yeah, like a Mexican hot chocolate with some peppers, kind of going more on that traditional side, I guess.
You could do white chocolate. You could go a lot of different directions with this. Obviously, the star of this show is the peppermint in lots of ways. But obviously what that means is you could also play with what your liqueur is. I mean, I can imagine lots of different options there.
I think Amaro is an absolute winner in this cocktail. So if you have any Amari in your liquor cabinet, I think we have quite a few selection up here. You can substitute that instead of the peppermint schnapps. You can put that in there. Fernet actually has a mint Fernet, which is a little bit on the sweeter side, not as quite as bitter.
Fernet Menta, it's very good. The one thing I would say about that one is I probably wouldn't use it in whipped cream because it's like kind of a brownish color.
Right.
And unfortunately, the visual is not quite as
good. And you can go the other way and do the green for the whipped cream if you want to do that for the schnapps. And then there was another one I was going to recommend. Oh, chartreuse. Green chartreuse in this is so good. Instead of the,
he puts chartreuse in everything.
Everything I can, damn right.
It's true, it's really weird in breakfast cereal.
You get over it, you get used to it. But yeah, there's so many things like Kahlua, you could do that instead of this.
Oh, that's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, so there's a ton of different directions.
Can I try it?
Yeah, the infusion month that we did, you can go crazy on different infusions, different liqueurs, and really make this a fun drink. Well, I should try it.
You should, it's really good. The peppermint is just right.
Ooh, yummy.
Spice?
Yum, yeah.
That'll wake you up. That is really, really nice. The one thing I would say is something we forgot to do is do preheat your mug.
Yeah.
Because a problem that a lot of people have with hot cocktails is that they tend to cool down pretty quickly and then you end up with kind of like lukewarm cocktails. Now that's totally fine by me because it still tastes like chocolate and I'm all about it. but it's probably a little bit tastier if you can keep your glass hot.
Right.
So go ahead and preheat your mug with some hot water, pour it out, and then make your cocktail in it, and then that'll keep it warm.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you have it, hot chocolate with schnapps, and many, many different variations that you can do over the holiday season.
So thanks so much for joining us. I hope that you will give this classic cocktail a try and let us know what other variations you may try as well.
Yeah, like we said, there are so many different choices, and we'd love to hear what you guys are drinking over the holidays. So I think this is going to be it for videos for the year.
I think it might be. Actually, you know what we have? We have a really cool cocktail coming right on, I think it's New Year's Eve, right?
I think so.
Right around there. Keep an eye on our Instagram because we're going to post that one there. I don't think we're going to do a video that week because we might be busy.
Right.
We might be enjoying some cocktails.
So our Instagram handle is @abarabove. Go check us out. And Happy New Year's and Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.